Get what's available. Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, that was Blacklist Union with Evil Eye from their latest album, 2015's Back to Momo. And with us today live via Zoom is Tony West. Hello and welcome to the Hair Metal Mixtape, Tony.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you?
Good, man. How's it going today?
Going good.
Thanks, man. Well, thanks for doing this. And like I mentioned before, you're currently in LA right now, right? Still in LA, right?
I am.
That's great, man. So that's where you've been since you left the Bronx as a teenager, huh?
Yeah, well, I left Yonkers. Yeah. I got a lot of history in New York, man. I grew up in, the Bronx and Yonkers, but I was always in Manhattan going to see the Ramones and a lot of hardcore. I was into a lot of hardcore punk rock stuff growing up. So like the Cro-Mags and Murphy's Law, Agnostic Front, that whole scene of people. And then, I was always into like the Ramones and like Blondie and, then there's AC/DC and Van Halen. So I kind of had, I just like whatever was good that kind of struck my heart,
Yeah, totally, man. Have you been back to your childhood neighborhood since?
I have, yeah, a couple of times. I took my son who's 15 and, we went around my neighborhood. I actually grew up, I grew up in the Bronx, but then when I went to high school in Yonkers, I lived across the street from Roosevelt High School, where Steven Tyler went. But I was like the only punk rocker in town and I'd get my ass kicked by the Guidos. So I went to Lincoln. I took the bus to Lincoln because there was less Guido-ness there.
Right.
Yeah, so.
A lot less Cavaricis, right?
Yeah. Well, that was back in the day with like, what were they driving? Trans Ams and Grand Ams, and like they had the lines shaved in their heads that like that.
Unforgettable, right? Jesus.
But I always say I went bonkers in Yonkers, and Steven Tyler's from Yonkers, so hey, it's not so bad.
Have you ever seen any shows at Streets?
No, but I remember that place. Wasn't that New Rochelle?
Yeah, man. Yeah. A friend of mine was just asking me that too. He's like, you got to ask him about Streets, man, because we're always talking about all the old school places.
I remember that name though, for sure. And then I also remember the Rising Sun. I met James Hetfield a couple of times and I was like, yeah, dude, when I was a kid, Metallica played the Rising Sun. He's like, damn, dude, that's a long ass time ago. I'm like, yeah.
That's right, man. All right, dude, let's jump right in, man. We just heard the track Evil Eye from that latest album, Back to Momo, which was released back in 2015. Before I get too ahead of myself, let's talk about this song, man. Like, what did Evil Eye mean to you? What was that all about?
So Evil Eye, we did a video too for that. I wrote that with Todd Youth, Todd Youth was a huge staple in New York, hardcore, and he played with Agnostic Front and Warzone, Murphy's Law. He also played in D-Generation, Jesse Mullins' band. So Todd was a good friend of mine, but he was auditioning for Guns N' Roses when DJ Ashba got the gig, and It was down to like Todd and DJ, and Todd wrote this song for Axl, the music, and Axl's like, no, I'll pass, and then he ended up getting DJ. But Todd was like, yo, I got this music that Axl didn't want. Like, you want to hear it? And I loved it. So then I wrote it about my mother. She was very abusive growing up, man. So it's basically about my mother. But in the video, like my son plays me as a little boy, and I had a friend of mine play my mom, and it's crazy because she looked just like my mom. And I remember watching them act out the video from this window, and man, it was like looking in a time machine. And I got choked up because it was so real. My son did an amazing job in it too. So
wow,
that's
awesome.
The story of that song. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And the album's called Back to Momo. What's that about, man? What's Momo?
So Momo is an Asian whorehouse in Los Angeles that I've been known to frequent.
Okay.
Right. And the title Back to Momo is like, well, another failed relationship. Well, I guess it's back to Momo, so that's basically.
That's pretty awesome, dude. Yeah. So when was the last time you listened to this album, and does it still hold true to the sound you want from Blacklist Union these days?
Yeah. I'm very influenced by punk rock and rock, like my vein is like Turbo Negro. I love Turbo Negro. I love GBH. Then my two biggest influences are Warrior Soul from New York, Corey Clark.
Okay.
Huge influence on me. And then Mother Love Bone, who was Andrew Wood's my biggest vocal influence. And if you don't know who Mother Love Bone is, I highly suggest you check them out because, you know, Andy died and then they got Eddie Vedder and became Pearl Jam. I'm not an Eddie Vedder Pearl Jam fan, but Mother Love Bone's like the holy grail of rock, you know?
That's
so
awesome.
my Blacklist Union sound is just, you know, real street rock, man, like in your face, up tempo, you know, the kind of shit that makes you want. I always say, if it doesn't make you want to fight, fuck, or drive really fast, you're not doing your job. So, yeah,
that's great, man. And according to the band page in bio, it mentions having a new lineup and working on the next album. But was that statement made like 7 years ago when this last album came out? And what's the update so far?
Well, you know, Todd, my guitar player I wrote the last record with, he died in 2018. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I did a record with Jay Gordon from Orgy on this different side project. And I was like, you know, I want to do something more modern. And the record was great, but like, you know, I was like, you know, man, this just isn't me. Like, I'm a rock dude. Like, I can't go out and fake it because this is what's hip right now. Mm-hmm. And then I was also in the running for Stone Temple Pilots. You know, I recorded 3 songs just like every other singer did with them. And then I got a call back and got to record 3 more with them. And then they ended up getting this other dude. And I did another side project out here with this local band in LA called Silver Star.
Okay.
So I was really on the fence with what to do with Blacklist Union. And I went to Peru, dude, in the Amazon jungle with the Indians and did ayahuasca and shit. Like, I don't know if you're hip to any of that, but
yeah, dude,
that was life-changing. And I saw Todd and many people came to me in visions and stuff. So, but the hard part was and is finding a writing partner, because with Todd, man, I didn't have to say, dude, check out this band, check out that band. He already had it in his DNA, man. You know what I mean? So it's like trying to find a wife, you know, like it is fucking not easy. And I didn't want to put out anything less than stellar, you know? So I actually started writing the record with the guy that's produced all the Blacklist Union records. And we're 4 songs in now. And it's called Letters from the Psych Ward. And it's going to be really, really kick ass, man. You know, so I'm really excited about it. And that's why it's taken so long. You know, I loved Todd so much, man. You know, that really, really fucking rocked my world when he passed away. And so that's the story. You know?
Are you besides writing these new tunes, are you looking for a new band, or it's not even in your thought?
Yeah, I always have guys that want to play. But again, the writing is a completely different animal. Like, you'd be surprised, dude. You know, people that have sold millions of records can't write a song. You know, I'm like, what? You know, so yeah, and that's, you know, I'm a songsmith. I'm like a wordsmith. You know, if you're hip to Blacklist Union, like, you know, it's like I always say, if you want to know about my life, read the lyrics. Like, yeah, I'm really into lyrics, and you know, like that's my deal: melodies and lyrics and the vision. You know,
and it seems like you keep busy pretty much with your frontman duties, man. Like you mentioned, man, you've done some singer duties with Tracy Guns, LA Guns from like 2011, 2012, even singing for Malfunction, 2014, 2015. What else are you involved with musically? You seem to be nonstop, you know, you keep yourself busy.
Yeah, well, Malfunction was Andrew Wood from Mother Love Bone's band before Mother Love Bone. So I got to sing in my hero's band with his brother, which was amazing. And I sang the songs that I learned to sing to. I was singing those songs. And I remember we played a gig in Seattle, man, and it was my swan song gig because you know, Andy's mother was there, dude. You know, like all the Soundgarden camp, Nirvana camp, you name it. You know, the Seattle heads were there, and I remember singing the songs, and Andy's mom's face was luminous in the crowd, dude, and like, I can, you know, for me, it's about channeling. It's not about me. It's about channeling, you know? And I remember looking at her, dude, and I had to look away really fast because I got choked up because she was astonished, you know, and because I love those songs, man, you know, and And then the LA Guns thing, you know, me and Tracy, we tried writing some songs together years ago. And then he had the Lana. Remember when he had the Lana, the chick singer? And then she quit in the middle of the tour. And then I helped them finish the tour. And I sang like 13 gigs with them. That was fun, you know. It was funny because fucking the lyrics, dude, like, I had to have all these cheat notes on the stage. And I'm like, Tracy's like, dude, with the lyrics. I'm like, bro, there's kids that have been singing these songs for like 30 years. Like, I can't fuck up the lyrics, you know?
Yeah.
But I had it down to a science, you know, in the end, but it was fun. It was a good time. So
what else you been doing, man? Like you working on any other side projects, or you just kind of
like I said, I did that record with Jay Gordon. That's called The Savior Complex. And then I did this record with this band called Silver Star, which was kind of like a cow punk kind of thing, which was really cool. And yeah, that's what I've been doing. So
that's good, man. And so I'm going back a little bit now. Later on the mixtape, I'm spinning the track "Everything You Need" from the debut album, After the Morning, spelled Mourning. Can you tell me about that track and that album, man? Like, I know it's been a while now, but you know, it's usually everyone's first is usually pretty unforgettable. So what do you got on that one?
I'm really proud of that record, man. It's my first record. I've done 6 records now. But After the Morning, I was dating Bianca from Betty Blowtorch, who died in a car accident.
Wow.
And a year before she died, I mean, we were in love, dude, like hardcore. And we went through some shit, you know, together that couples go through, which kind of broke us up. And I don't want to really get into detail about that, but I was so fucking devastated when she died. And it's still to this day, it haunts me, dude. But so After the Morning, it was mourning death. It was about, that record is dedicated to Bianca. There's a song called Dying to Live, which I recorded that on the 5-year anniversary of her death. I went to the grave, prayed, went straight to the studio and recorded the song. I remember our producer and the bass player, their jaws were hanging open. I was like, oh, what the fuck? I'm like, did that just suck? And they're like, no, dude, you nailed it all the way through. And it was the first time I ever nailed a song all the way through. Like, the studio is a whole different animal, but and that was the beginning of the healing for me with her. But Everything You Need, man, I love that song. That's a great song. And it's about, you know, that inside, you know, we all have everything we need already, man. You know, and you keep searching outside for stuff to fix you. It's not going to happen. You know, it's like, and I've had to learn this over and over and over and over, you know, the hard way. But everything you need is right inside, and you got to search inside, you know.
Yeah, man, I hear you, man. On a personal note, like, I went through some crazy shit like that too, where I lost like over 110 pounds. I was a big dude. And like, you think, all right, man, I lost it. Now I'm going to be cool. But then you're like, oh, I'm kind of still an asshole. I got shit to work on, man. It's not just my exterior, you know? So you're right. It's all inside of you. You got to look deep inside to see what the fuck is going on, you know?
Yep.
So you said you were working on these new songs for this new upcoming stuff. Is any of that stuff kind of similar or comparable to these last albums you did?
Yeah, you know, it's all up tempo, kick ass rock and roll with a couple, you know, good little kind of slower tunes here and there, but you know, it's very high octane rock and roll, like heavily like blues, hard rock meets punk rock, you know, the same formula we've been following. And, you know, I put out music and play music that I want to hear, you know what I mean? Cause dude, I mean, so much stuff, you know, a lot of the times, and I'm like, I want to like stuff, you know, and my friends are like, oh, this band's so great, check it out. I'm like, oh man, like that's not for me, dude.
Right.
You know? And I'm the most rock and roll to the bone dude. Like, you know, and I like everything. I always say I like everything from Slayer to Enya, but like, you know, if it's good, you know, it's good. You know, if it's not, you know, it's just not. So
yeah, that's pretty much it. So nowadays, man, where's the best place people can find Blacklist Union, your music, and everything you have to do with that stuff, man? Websites,
Yeah, I mean, just Google Blacklist Union. You'll find us, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We're on all that shit. Blacklistunion.com. You can get all the, if you still listen to CDs, and we're on Spotify, of course, iTunes, you name it, we're on it. So,
yeah, I also mentioned, I also saw in Bandcamp, all the albums are on Bandcamp too, man. And that usually helps you guys directly, right?
All that stuff, even SoundCloud. And I mean, so many things that I'm like, people are like, oh, you're on blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, we are. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah.
Nice, nice, man. So is there anything I failed to ask you or mention that you'd like the listeners to know before we go?
All I can say is if you really love rock and roll, because so many people don't know who Blacklist Union is yet, we still haven't broke, through the barrier, man. And, we've been around a minute now. And, we have 4 full-length records out, which, critics seem to love, fans, more importantly, seem to love. But if you love rock and roll, real rock and roll, and don't know who we are, I always say it comes back with a money-back guarantee, because if you love rock and roll, then we're right up your alley, man. It's that simple,
That's awesome, man. Well, it seems like that's all time we have, man. Thank you so much for doing this, Tony. I wish you the best of luck with all your upcoming projects, dude. And hopefully we can do this again sometime when something new we can release, man.
Anytime. Yeah. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. Thanks again, man. And keep rocking.
All right. Take care.
Take care, man.